Hello and welcome to the Nerd Zone, a name which I'm hoping won't stick because I don't like it, and every time I say it makes me giggle. So for those who are coming to this channel because they have seen that this is a PC building thing, welcome. Normally our channel is a vlogging channel where we do weekly vlogs, Disney trips, holidays and stuff like that, but I also wanted to sort of separate some of the bits of that channel that are less Mark and Jem and more just Mark. But I didn't want to put them on their own channel. Anyway, moving on. What will these videos be? So this video is basically going to be me very freeform, long form type relaxed, no super edits, maybe a little bit of music, just talking about building stuff, fixing stuff, crafts, things like that. And the first series I'm going to do is upgrading my PC, which is down here. So what does it entail? Where am I aiming this video? Well, I haven't got a clue. I'm just going to try to put it down the middle somewhere, so people who know about PCs will be able to pick on my build and say it's a lot of rubbish. People who don't know PCs might learn a bit and might want to have a go for themselves, because it is kind of a fun thing to do if you like nerdy stuff, like plugging things in and turning things on and fire. Yeah, so we'll start the story off with the current setup. So yeah, back when we started our vlogging channel, I used to edit on a laptop. I've kind of come full circle because I edit on a laptop now, but it's a much better one. But yeah, that laptop was very old and very slow, and as the edits got more and more complex, it started to struggle. It did struggle. So I decided to build a new PC. It was May 2015 I built the PC. I went over to a computer shop in Bolton, bought a load of parts, bunged them all in a box, turned it on, and there was no fire, which is quite surprising. So yeah, that PC has been mostly trouble-free. I blew a power supply on it. I didn't blow it, it just died. And also there's been some gremlins with audio that I keep getting at the minute, which I'm hoping won't affect this vlog. But yeah, otherwise it's been fine. Recently Microsoft released a small game called Flight Simulator 2020, and both on my laptop that I use for editing on now and this PC here, it runs like a slideshow. And I'm talking like tanks to 6 frames per second in certain areas, and I have to have it on low to medium. That's not the be all and end all, but it did kind of advertise to me that maybe I want to think about building a new PC as a hobby thing more than anything, because I don't need a new PC, but we aren't going on holiday this year, so I've saved a few quid and I want to spend some of it on this thing. So what we're going to do now is cut over to the PC using the power of video screen sharing or something, I don't know, and then we can talk about what I built, what spec it was, and where I'm planning to upgrade. You're also going to have to look at the side of me here if I keep the video. Okay, we're over on the PC now. I use a little piece of software called HW Monitor. It's free, I believe. I hope. But yeah, we can show you the build that I currently have. This is the motherboard. That'd be the big circuit board in the middle of the PC. That's where you plug everything into. And I chose the Asus H87M Plus back in the day. I couldn't tell you why. It was probably just the one that was a good price at the time. And to pair with that, I picked a Intel Core i5-4570, not K edition. So with Intel at the time, probably still to this day, if you had a K version of the processor, literally just would have shown a K on the end here. It meant you could do things like overclock, make things run a bit quicker, and so on. The rest of the build in this current screen can use basically all the hard disks I've got. I've got 1 terabyte spinning disk, a 3 terabyte spinning disk, and an SSD which is 240 gigabytes. We may look at upgrading one of those. The spinning ones will probably stay for a little bit longer. I'm intending for this upgrade to be a little bit iterative when I eventually get to it, which means, you know, I want to put some bits in, maybe swap some bits out at a later date. There's a problem with graphics cards at the minute that I'm struggling with. Not a problem, an opportunity. So I'm a bit undecided on that front at the minute. But the graphics card that's currently in there, this shows you a lot of useful information here. This is the GTX 970, which was a 4GB graphics card. That's 4GB of VRAM on board. Actually, it was about 3.5, and there was a big lawsuit in America, and it all kicked off. But yeah, the time of building this PC, it was pretty good. I think it was like top 10% fastest PCs in the world, which is not a fancy thing to say. It's just, you know, it would play all the games that came out. It actually came with a free copy of Witcher 3, the graphics card did, and the Arkham City, was it? Batman game? I didn't play it. I'm not a big Batman game fan. Witcher 3, beautiful game. Played about 20 hours of it. Couldn't get along with the combat system in it. Probably will go back to it at some point. I've been saying that for the last 5 years. What I'm going to do now is we're going to cut over and run a few tests and checks, and I'll kind of show you why I'm thinking I might want to upgrade this PC. Mainly, I'm going to start with Flight Simulator. So I'll see you in Flight Simulator. We are in. I did some tweaks. I changed the settings because I'd done some tweaks last time using GeForce Experience, which had basically said, I'm going to set this game to the ideal settings for your machine, and it did a good job actually. I was getting a solid 60 frames per second, which is probably more than I can expect from this at the settings that I want to play it at, to be honest, but the graphics look so bad I had to tweak things, so I did. Anyway, what we are doing now, one thing I don't have handy is my flight yoke, so what we're going to do is we're going to hand over control to the co-pilot, which is probably for the best because we won't end up in the sea then. Actually, no guarantees, we might end up in the sea, to be honest. I'm also going to turn the volume down for myself because the game's awfully loud. We'll just close that and I'll pass over to outside view. So what I'm finding with this game is, you'll just saw it then, I do have this counter up here in the corner, which is the frame count, so this is how many frames the game is generating per second. Normally like this, it's, you know, it's playable. The graphics aren't as amazing as I've seen it on some people's machines, but you can get by. It's a simulator. It's not like a fighting game where everything has to be super fluid and fast. But I just kind of want it to look a bit prettier. And I mean, this is sort of symptomatic of what I'm starting to find with a lot of games now, is that I'm finding that this drops to be an unplayable level in certain action games, like shooting games, things like that now. And I don't want that. I want to be able to play the game properly. This guy's a much better flyer than I am. Although he does struggle with mountains. He's now chatting to the air traffic controller. What I want this game to look like, let's see if we can do it, is I don't want to get up to Ultra. I just want to get to high end. So let's see what happens when we try and run the game at high end on my machine. Also, I want it to be running at 1080p at high end. Apply and save. Go back and resume. And then you see the jerkiness. And the frames drop to 12. Bearing in mind now the game is basically frozen. It does that when you change the settings, to be fair, a couple of times, so a little bit unfair. Also, this is a slightly unrealistic demonstration because we're recording, and that has an effect on latency as well. So you know, my computer has to spend some time doing the recording stuff, which I have over there on the other screen, so I can keep an eye on it. Now my pilot is flying up towards Blackpool. You can see 15 frames per second. I mean, it's doable for a flight simulator, but I'd love to be able to enjoy this game smoother. So the intention of the new PC build is to solve this problem and just generally make games run faster on my computer. And before we go, I will just demonstrate some of the issues I was seeing when I make things a little bit more challenging. Not that, I mean, I already have. I've set the graphics to good. But let's stick live weather on. Now we're 14, 13, 10 frames, 14 frames. Let's get really silly. Here's the storm. Do you know what? If I put a storm big enough on, the frame rate will go up because it'll stop drawing the ground as well. See, it's starting to go up now. I do like playing with the weather on this game, I must admit. 100% lightning. Yeah, I would not be flying in a little Cessna over Liverpool if it was 100% lightning. But what I'm actually finding now is that the screen isn't responding, but I think that's more the game than my graphics and my machine. yeah, 10 frames. I'd love to be able to just play this game a little bit smoother and see, see what it really looks like. I think a good one would be Broken Clouds. I can't click on it. Everything's lagging. There we go, we're down to 6 frames, 9 frames. So that's 6 frames per second. So every second the screen changes 6 times. Sounds like a lot. It really isn't. We're up to 12, we've doubled it. I'm not expecting the world from this upgrade, by the way, because this game is very, very demanding. There isn't currently, technically, hardware that can handle this game on Ultra at 60 frames per second on a 1440p screen, which is more than what I have. I just want to be able to play it a bit smoother, and I want to play other games like Outer Worlds, Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster on the higher settings. That's where I want to be. I don't want too much, and that'll come into when I start talking in the next video about my intentions and what I'm going to put into the build. That'll come into play a bit more then, because we have then a balance of money and spec, and I need to hit somewhere in the middle. So from this point I'll leave you to watch a little bit of footage of the plane flying, and I'll see you in the next video when we start to talk about what the plans are and what we want to build. And then that's the one where the people who really know the PC builds will be posting in the comments going, "You can't build it like that, it'll be rubbish, you'll bottleneck this and that and the other." See you later, guys.